Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Tottenham 3, Arsenal 0. Disaster. Absolute disaster for Arsenal. However, it's not bloody over. This, for the neutral, this is gorgeous, guys. Lots to talk about. And actually, to be honest, there is one sort of tactical element from the first 20 odd minutes that I think is really, really important. We'll look at the game broadly, and there's some little nuggets to kind of dive into a little bit in terms of how Spurs played, how Spurs have maybe changed a little bit, how they managed the game, and of course the massive decisions, Rob Holding getting sent off, the penalty as well, crucial as well. But the big one here is, I think, it's the ramifications moving forward and how much this game will affect that. So we're going to get through all of that stuff, and I want you guys to be involved as well, because there's only so much we can talk about the game, because the game was over after 46 minutes once the third goal goes in. Can Arteta make a couple of changes? Maybe. Can I call Flav? I can try. I don't think he'll pick up, but we will be doing, actually that's worth saying, if you're not subscribed, you haven't hit the notification bell, now's the time to do it, especially if you're a Spurs fan, because we will be doing the podcast live tomorrow. So you'll get his feelings on that game. But you'll get a neutral point of view here when it comes to the Arsenal side of it here. I know some Arsenal fans are a bit disappointed with that, but look, he's my mate and I don't mind talking to him. So it's just one of those things. But the game, Arsenal did... They fell apart a little bit, but I want to have there's huge caveats with Arsenal, because I think there's broader points, and I've got one conclusion when it comes to Arsenal, that Arsenal fans, I think, will initially, with the top line of it, not enjoy me saying. But I think if you're smart and once you take a breath, you'll understand what I'm trying to say, because it's not a negative thing, but it will sound like a negative thing. Let's get into the game first, and you've got Son versus Holding. That's the first thing we've got to talk about, and... is it a red card and is it a penalty? I'll tell you what, let's hold off on Son and Holding, because there's the penalty first, isn't there? I thought Arsenal's game plan, and they actually started off the game okay. You know, they had the momentum in the first few minutes, then it started to calm down. Spurs started to find their feet that little bit, as you can see from the momentum bar here. First few minutes, it wasn't too bad for Arsenal. Oh, is that not working? You're kidding me. Jesus Christ. Right, don't worry. I've got it covered. I've got it covered, guys. There you go. There's the momentum bar there. Oh, that's such a shame. And in the first few minutes, they were looking all right, Arsenal. And then Spurs, I think you can't underestimate the ground. You can't underestimate atmosphere. You could hear it coming through the TV. And they were clearly up for it. And I thought that's what would get Spurs over the line, alongside the fact that they know who they are right now. So do Arsenal. But Arsenal got so many injuries that it's kind of hurting them a little bit. And I think Arteta got it wrong. I think once they started to try and sit in that little bit, it started to hurt them. And there was a few messages, I think, that have occurred here from Arteta to a few of the players that I think really, really hurt them. The penalty. Let's get this out of the way. And I'd love to know in the chat, tell me, do you think this was a pen or not? And in particular, the guys who don't support Arsenal or Spurs, because that's going to play a part in it. Because I honestly think if I'm an Arsenal fan, I go, oh, come on, that's too much. You know, on this channel, we know we have the get up rule. And if it feels like they should be able to get up, then it shouldn't be a penalty. I think it's a penalty. I think it's a penalty, but I also can understand, if you go and watch that back, Cedric's positioning isn't bad. And if anyone says that his positioning is bad, they're being a little bit unfair on him, because he's actually marking Sessegnon. It's Rob Holding who's kind of, I say, lost his man, but all Son's peeled off the right-hand side of it. So Holding, you know, an absolute disaster for him, and actually even in that moment they lost him as well. But it's a great cross from Kulusevski, who's been one of the signings of January. I think he's been absolutely astounding for them. And they knew what they were doing. This is the thing with Spurs. They know what they're doing. And the difference I thought Arsenal just had that element of, if I'm being harsh, naivety, but if I'm being fair, just they're undercooked. As professionals, they're a young team. They're the youngest team in the league. And I think that showed in a few areas. The penalty for me, if Cedric doesn't turn his back, I don't think it's a penalty. If he sort of nudges him a little bit, I think he might get away with it. But in the moment, he's trying to do something. He turns away, and it's a stonewall. It's an absolute stonewall. The bigger talking point here is Son versus Holding, because I know some fans don't like Heung-min Son. I like him, but he's a little bit sneaky at times. He is that little bit sneaky. I will get to your super chats, by the way. Don't worry. It's definitely a red card. I mean, the one thing that is sneaky is that Son has that little look when he's on the floor. And again, it's one of those where if you're a Spurs fan, you go, good lad. But if you're an Arsenal fan, he is scum to you. And no one's wrong there. No one's wrong at all. But I think there's a message that's been given from Arteta to Holding, which is don't let him turn. You've got to be really tight on him. Do not let him turn. Do not let him get him behind. And what's strange is that is the worst advice I think you could give him. If Arteta's not giving that, then fair enough. But it seemed overzealous, didn't it, from Holding? He was literally holding him all the time and snapping at him. Now, what Rob Holding should do, and you're going to roll your eyes here, he needs to go and watch some Clint Hill videos. Because what Clint Hill used to do brilliantly, and I'll show you now, is he used to do this. He would hold the shoulders of the defender. So he couldn't kind of get away from him, but he's not pushing him, he's not pulling him, he's just holding him. That's what Holding should have done. But instead, he was just sort of griping at him and just having these little and it was just too much, especially away from home. You've got to be smart, you've got to be switched on. And the guy's 26. You can't be doing that anymore. And the occasion it felt like got to him a little bit. This is the weird thing with derbies now. There are so many cameras everywhere, you can't really get away with much. You've got to be very, very careful. And so Holding, the accumulation of the first couple of things is why he gets that first one. Some people talk about Son, maybe it does a little elbow himself. He just about doesn't do enough, I think. That feels like semantics. Whereas Holding on Son, when he wheels in, it's one of those where in a derby game, you want to give that little bit of a nudge. And I'm okay with that, but you've got to do it at the right time. And when you're on a booking against the centre-back, again, all he has to do is instead of go with his shoulder and crunch the guy, just go with his arm. Just give him a nudge and do it earlier. As soon as he sees that ball go, just give him a nudge and then you give yourself a yard because you've got the strength. You're a big centre-back. What's he doing? Absolute disaster from Rob Holding. And now he's going to be out of the next couple of games. Gabriel goes off as well. And this Arsenal side is completely at the bare bones now. Completely at the bare bones. The other thing I will say is that they were struggling. The game was sort of starting to get away from them when it was 11 against 11. And one thing I did want to show you, this is, if you've seen the fallout and you've seen the new kind of formation and average position that you're seeing from Spurs a lot of the time, it's those two central midfielders in Bentancur and Højbjerg, who I thought was fantastic in this game, and then just a lovely spread around the team. Because Bentancur is so press-proof and gets the ball on the turn that it really helps them move up the pitch. And Kulusevski as well. Again, him being able to offer that energy going forward, but also at the back. The difference for Arsenal is they missed Thomas Partey massively. This is a screenshot of the average positions after about 30 minutes. And what you can see there is El Neni is number 25. And El Neni is dropping so deep, which is fine, I guess. But what happens is, if you see number 30 there, that's Nketiah. Nketiah is dropping so much deeper as well because El Neni's dropping deep as well. Xhaka's covering on that left-hand side. Spurs generally wanted them to go out round the outsides. So El Neni needs to be the Bentancur to get on the ball. But more than get on the ball, turn with the ball. Get the ball on the half-turn and turn. And El Neni was incapable of doing it. And trust me, I'm the same player. I can't turn either. So that's why I could see it coming. And what that does is it means that Nketiah drops deeper, El Neni drops deeper, and it leads to a lot of pressure. And that pressure built, especially with the, cacophony of the ground there and the atmosphere there. And I think that made him get dragged back that little bit. And that meant that you can't get up the pitch. You can't get Saka involved. Normally, Saka is much higher up. If you've seen Arsenal's average positions generally, and also Liverpool recently, it's often Saka who's the furthest man forward. And it was one of those where, because it's gone to 10 men, they've not been able to get themselves back in the game. And they've been let down by the fact that they don't have the depth to have someone with the quality of a Bentancur to go and get the ball. And when you know he'll get the ball and turn with it and be press-proof, the rest of the team can start to move up the pitch. And that is what was killing Arsenal in the first 25, 30 minutes of the game. But then it comes down to Holding making just ridiculously stupid decisions. That said, Spurs were really good. Pinch of salt with it. But the thing was, they were so professional. And then there was an element, a whiff of naivety. If you're watching for the first time, we've got quite a lot of people here. We go live a lot of the time, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for me. We're going to get to all your super chats in just a second, so don't worry about that. The other thing I did want to tell was the game management of Spurs was really, really good. Here you can see the passing stats. And what I thought was interesting was when you're playing against 10 men, you would have thought that, and you've won 3-0, you would have thought that maybe they would have kind of gone for it that little bit more, get the ball to the centre midfielders, get it in those passing lanes. But no, you can see the two centre-backs, or three centre-backs, Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer, a lot more passes. Højbjerg dropping in deep and picking up the ball again, but again, just playing across that back line. And Bentancur only actually had 56 passes in this game. And that shows that they got the goals and they got the hell out of there. And that is smart stuff from Antonio Conte and from Spurs here, who just had that quality up front, which I think made a huge difference. The game state obviously affects it as well. And the one thing I would have said is that, again, going back to those average positions, El Neni's doing that. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit smarter, I think. You've got Martinelli, Nketiah and Saka there. You're struggling a little bit. Get the ball down the other end of the pitch. Say to Nketiah for a couple of minutes, right, let's figure this out for a second. We're starting to struggle a little bit. Let's play the ball along. Nketiah, you're smart enough, big enough and pacey enough to both hold up the ball, which he was trying to do, but it was getting snuffed out, but can also go into the channels as well. I will try and call Flav. Don't worry, I'll try and call him. Let's see what he'll do. And he didn't do that. And I think that was a moment in time where they could have maybe been down the other end of the pitch. I think there was a huge concern about Son getting in behind. But then you got Holding doing what he did. And it just kills it. Absolutely kills it now. A couple of questions for the chat. Are Tottenham favourites now? Because I was going to show you the games that are left here. But sadly, my it's not working right now. Arsenal have still got Newcastle and Everton. Spurs have got... Who have they got? Burnley... You guys are going to tell me, aren't you? Burnley and Norwich. So what this says to me now is, we can show you the table. For me, it's actually, obviously it's still in Arsenal's hands, right? But what I would say more than anything, let's just move that across so you can see it. Arsenal still, it's not all lost for Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans obviously be disappointed, and Spurs fans, enjoy yourselves as well. But Arsenal still have the upper hand. The problem they've got is all these injuries now and the suspension. Holding he'll be tearing his hair out. And that's a pricey hair. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing that. And that's going to cost him both a Champions League place and a lot more money. Because it's a great hair transplant. I'm not doubting that at all. Arteta out, says the bench press man. Interesting stuff. Right, let me get... Yeah, because the thing is, for Arsenal now, it's like, go get 6 points. Go and get 6 points. I'm going to call Flav. Let's call Flav. See if he picks up. If he doesn't pick up, he doesn't pick up. Okay. Big moment. Will he pick up? And don't worry about super chats. I'll get to all of them in just a second. Here we go. See if he picks up.
James Allcott.
You are live on the James Lawrence Allcott channel. They're begging me to call you. How are you doing?
Am I actually live?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's steaming.
I'm amazing. I'm doing amazing. I'm eating a burger.
Yeah, mate. What colour's North London?
Fucking white.
Fucking white.
White and blue. Come on, boys. Come on. All right. Let me compose myself for a second.
Get your questions in for Flav, although we're going to be going live tomorrow on the pod. But yeah, all I want is a 30-second...
Making all that noise. Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. They are nothing. They're a nothing club. They're a nothing club. Tell me, find me an Arsenal fan that can prove me wrong. Nothing club.
Okay, I'll tell you what, give me a 15-second summary or something like that, and then we'll go into deeper detail tomorrow live on the pod.
I'll give you a summary. I'll give you everything you want, Jim.
Go on then.
They're worms.
Not slugs. You wanted to say slugs, didn't you? But they're not.
No, it's not. I respect slugs. I don't respect worms. Fuck worms. Honestly, did you see Arteta's interview again?
No, I haven't. What did he say?
He said Spurs are the best club he's ever faced, ever.
No, you're annoyed at that. Anyone else would be like, "Oh, good lad. Actually, he's giving us props when we deserve it." You're like, you don't want it.
No, they're rats. They're rats. Rats
and worms.
Honestly, I felt like what if we can just we're going to talk about it tomorrow, Jim.
Yeah.
But if you're an Arsenal fan, and you're looking at Rob Holding, you're looking at him going, "Why have you done this to us?" Right, he has absolutely destroyed them. And Arteta was saying, another referee, it would have gone another way. But it wouldn't have done because Rob Holding is a cretin, and also he's not a very good defender. And Son's I can't do this, James. I can't. I'm trying to. I can't. I've got to go.
All right, bye. See you tomorrow.
I love you.
Love you too. Congratulations. Flav there. Analyst and pundit Flav. Let's go through your super chats there. Join us tomorrow, 11 live. Might be 11:30 because he sounds like he's struggling a little bit. We'll see. Maestro D, thank you very much. I'm actually upset how good that title is from you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. I'm more upset that since players played well, but we were finished by two players who should never play for our club again. Get out of my club. Does Holding have to go tonight? Maybe. Let us know. Ryan Jones with a super chat. Best fit YouTuber. Bit just clocked you. You look a bit like Paul Turner. So I have to unsub. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Two big questions for the chat here I'm going to come to. Are Tottenham favourites now? And I need to finish with my my big line. It's not my big line really, but it's how I feel about Arsenal right now. Is that all the super chats? It's not. Keith D. Holding elbowed him in the face as he turned, which was a yellow card. His second, so it's red. Keep D, so fab. Sinful analysis. Sometimes you got to just state the facts. Thank you for the super chat. I think that was worth. That's superb. That's a super chat. Alex, as a Palace fan, I appreciate the Clint Hill reference. I'm right though, aren't I? That's what he used to do. He's amazing at it. Good luck, Sean Derry, next season. May mean you get Raksaki on loan. Is he good? Let me know. Tweet me. Tell me more about him. And that is all your super chats. So here is my final point on Arsenal. Because this is one of those where all will feel lost. But as we look at the table, and I know Flab's rubbing it in right now, and I know you don't want to lose derbies, it's not bloody over and it's in your bloody hands. 6 points. Simple as that. That's all you've got to do. 6 points. Apparently Saka's going to be out as well. Interesting. Who will get top 4? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know in the chat now. I'm intrigued to see who you think it's going to be. Here's my point on Arsenal. Despite the 10 men, what I was I say disappointed, but completely understandably so, is I feel like the Arsenal players, they're big players. The players that are going to be big players for the next 4 or 5 years. They're not cooked yet. They're not there yet. Now, the ceiling for this Arsenal squad, I think, is pretty high. I really like Tomiyasu. I really like Gabriel. I really like Ben White. I really like Ramsdale, although I think I can imagine his reputation turning as time goes on. Sort of Pickford vibes, maybe. I really like Tierney. There's so many players to really like. There's also a lot of those players that are out. Tierney, Partey, a few others as well. But 2 really integral ones in those 2. But players like Odegaard, Saka, Smith Rowe, I thought the game was screaming out for him a lot of the time. And actually, what I would like to see is I'd like to see Smith Rowe play as an 8. Because I think he's got the energy to get about the pitch, to press well, but also just do some of that dirty work as well. I know he's really, really talented, but I think sometimes he could play that role. But what I would say, and I've said this a few times on the channel, this is what I'm seeing, is that kind of at this level, or at the level that you want them to be in these big games, you sort of have the first 50 games in that world, then the next 50, so you've played 100, and then 100 to 150. And it's in the 100 to 150 where those big players go, right, I can survey the situation here, and I'm going to carry and deal with this. And I don't think, and this might be down to the fact that you got Xhaka hiding out on the left-hand side, because that's the position that they want him to play. El Neni, incapable of getting on the ball and turning and sort of dictating a football match, especially when you're playing quite deep as a team. But Odegaard, I would have liked to have seen just go off and go, right, give me the ball. I know it's process-driven with Arsenal, but I just don't think he's there yet. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think he's there yet. Saka, a little bit similar to that as well. Martinelli, and Nketiah, I think, as well. Because even me, sort of watching the game, yes, he needs to be told by Arteta and maybe a sort of a leader in the middle there. But he should have just gone and worked the channels for a little bit. Get the team up the pitch and just sort of navigate the game, because that was the difference for me. I'm not saying the Spurs players are better than the Arsenal players, because they're at a different stage, a lot of them. But what they did do better is manage the game better, manage their emotions better. And that's where I think Arsenal aren't there yet. I feel like they will get there. I'm really excited about the squad. I think I've been very consistent on that. But I think in a game like today, I think we saw that. And I think we've seen that in the games against Liverpool this season as well, and in quite a few others as well. Masson Pervez, Rob Holding, Rob fouling, Rob sending off. Great work. Akshu Dvala, hopefully it's Dahavala. Sorry if I said that wrong. I think Arsenal versus Arsenal decides it. Arsenal, of course, play Everton in the last game. They need 6 points. It's as simple as that. If it goes to the final game with Everton, that's where it's a little bit different, isn't it? Because Everton, if they've got 2 games before then. They've got to play Brentford and Crystal Palace. And if they can do that, I think both of those are at home as well. If they can win one of those, they're there, aren't they? They're safe. And so that might make it a bit easier for Arsenal in that final game. But if Everton need to get something, they're going to stink out the place and try and nick a draw to get them over the line at the very least. So I think it's so finely poised, but it is simple. At least there's clarity to it. There is real clarity for this Arsenal lot. The problem is you've got so many players out now. If we look at the squad for the next, if we look at the last game and the players that were out, and then the players that are going to be out for this one, it's a minefield for them. And Arteta's really, I think he's already showed his onions, if that's a thing. But now he's really going to have to step it up, because the players that are missing here for them, Gabriel's going to be out. Granit Xhaka, you guys have said, is going to be out as well. Cedric, I thought was poor today, but look, that's not a top 4 team with the amount of players that you're starting to miss out on now. Ben White, I thought they were careful with putting him back on, because they knew that they need him for the long run. And that's why they didn't put him on earlier. Tomiyasu will be really, really important for them as well in these last few games. Could become a cult hero. But tonight, it's Spurs' night. Congratulations to you. Heung-min Son, what a player. Harry Kane, what a player. And sure, whatever happens for Spurs this year, I think you can go into the summer thinking, this is a good team, you know. And they've got that element of depth with people like Skip in the side to come in if Bentancur gets injured or whoever gets injured. I think there's a few players to take them to that next level, but next year it's going to be so hard. So I think with Arsenal, go and get those 6 points, because if you don't go up this year, it could be tricky. That said, this is quite a nice plant that's growing quite sweetly. Let's say that. Guys, if you enjoyed yourself, hit the subscribe button. If you really enjoyed yourself, hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy yourself, comment down below, let me know. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. with Flav for the Jaffin podcast. All the best. Sleep well. Or